let me just tell you guys, I'm looking down, just getting myself prepped, and I already see these guys duking it out. I see these guys in costume, ready to rock. It is Thursday, guys. I'm thinking it's Thursday. It's Tuesday. That's how Monday kicked me so hard in the ass. I don't even know what day it is, but it's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday. So get your tacos, get ready to rumble. You guys ever wonder? You guys ever wonder what if? Things that make you go, hmm. I'm wondering who the better Summers brother is. We had to get my brother Comics Kings on, because this all started in the base of a couple of days, and we're gonna put it together tonight. We're gonna go ahead and get it for the millions and millions that are viewing in Krakoa, and all the herd chat that is wondering who is the better Summers brother. Let's get ready to rumble. With that being said, before we go ahead and do anything, before the fisticuffs come off and before we stand strong, and I get these guys getting the best slobber knocker we'd have never seen in this comic book industry, we're going to go ahead and get it started. So before anything, let's always shout out to the Four Horsemen faction, brother number one, brother Rudy, pillar to the community, supporter to all, and a damn good guy, man. He is a Ric Flair of this Four Horsemen faction. Then we already got something wrong right here. So something white's going to happen. You already know. He's in the building, executive producer. If Alonzo was here, it would be a three-way death match. I mean, we'd have Cyclops. I mean, I consider something Wong a little bit of a Havok character, and then we got my brother Brando bulking it up, but this ain't it. You got the Cyclops visor right there, which tells you something Wong just beat the heck out of Alonzo and just took the mantle. So who knows?
Yeah.
And then you got brother number three. D-Anime, etc., Senpai. And then you got Glenn 2K12, Glenn Obi coming in 4K, crystal clear, Horror Hermano, and one with the force and the flatulence, as I like to say. And then you got the DJ. Shout outs to our DJ Abomination and Plainclothes D providing us those luscious beats to your eardrums. And all right, let's go ahead and swan dive into this herd chat, shall we? I know we got some.
Let's get to it.
Rocking and rolling. I know these guys are ready to go. Shout out to JT He Comic. What's going on?
What up?
Live long and prosper, and high five to you, my brother. Thank you for joining. And you got Cyclops up in the building already. This is gonna be good. Oh, you're not even involved in this. He was
kind of like his idea. He's like, well, he's the one who responded when Wong like tag team Herd, so I give Alonzo his credit.
Yeah. Sometimes, right? I mean, he keeps this aligned, And then you got Rudy, brother Rudy. He is in the building. Shout outs to my brother Rudy. What's going on? Oh, you got Copy 801. He's
a DC guy. That doesn't count.
Yeah, he's wanting to see a fight.
That's a DC guy.
And then you got Inja Binja. What's going on, Inja? What's going on? She's katana sharp, in hilt, and ready to rock herself. All right. And you got Eric the Phoenix, man, coming up from those ashes and rising up, man. You guys missed the rewind yesterday. We had 2 double deckers, and I kind of dropped these lives, man. They kind of make you think, right? Have you ever wondered if the host didn't get it right? We're gonna also probably do that too later. But so with that being said, we also got D-Anime, etc. Time to wreak the havoc.
Sure. Oh, I knew Danime was on my school.
Oh man, you got free energy for free. Yes. Doom. Yeah, my boy Free Energy, man, always posting those luscious Doom covers, man. All right, and then you got HK Wifey 420, Sheena. What's going on, Sheena? Good to see you.
Hey, Sheena.
1/5 of the queens of comics, man. If you guys are not subbed up, sub them up. Definitely check the contact. They're going over Saga. And man, they do a great time doing it, and they have that energy. So do not forget that energy. You got J Rails 24/7. You got Q.
Hey, Q.
Q. What's going on?
What up, Q?
All right, man. Let's see. I think we are all caught up, guys. No. We got Rage and Cajun Comics in the building, brother JD. Comic and collectible treasures with a passion, brother.
Oh, that was a fun show. I had like the best time on his show. It was like endless laughing. I could think like 30 minutes of it was just giggling.
It was a good show.
It was like the Saga show all over again. Like we were just laughing.
Station TM.
What
Oh
up,
man.
TM Station, brother?
Comics on the edge, low grades for life. What's up, motherfuckers? What's going on, hermano? What's going on, my brother? My brother. Man, if you guys ain't sub to the low grades on Friday nights, it's perfect, man. They just make the perfect picture. They paint the perfect picture, man. Shout outs to J2, Robert, and my brother Ross Panel surfing, hitting that wave. All right, guys. I know we are ready. You know, this is gonna be the greatest debater guy, the great debate. This is let's see who the greatest masturbator is. Debater. All right.
Is that sexual in nature?
You know, take it as what you will, brother. Take it as what you will.
All right.
All right. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to lay some ground rules before we get started, and before we have this debate. We're going to go ahead and for those who haven't read X-Men, we need a little, a little background, right? We need to set the mood, set the tone before I have them touch fist to fist and go after it. So another shout out right here, my brother Black Crown, what's going on? BCC, what's going on?
BCC,
Comic Kingpins, man, they're doing the thing. If you guys miss retrospective, you got to go back and check that rewind. All right. So I'm gonna go let each and every one, you guys go ahead and give the herd a little bit of an origin story on Cyclops, on Havok, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into some questions. We're gonna go ahead and get this debate going. I know Brandon's been raring and ready to go, man. He started this afternoon with just taking the white glove off and went slap. I was like,
well, yes. I had more reels that I was gonna do, but then I was like, I don't want to beat a dead horse because we know who's gonna win. But I had this whole thing. I was gonna come home, do the Rocky training montage, do like a bunch of little like workout clips, and I was like, no, I said they don't need to see that. They don't need to see that. Just a few, just like the two will do. I think that was.
Yeah, good. I was pounding the beef earlier.
Yeah.
You were pounding the beat. Nice.
You guys were throwing hands.
Oh yeah.
I felt like I was in a Jerry Springer show. I didn't know
that was the way
if Cyclops was going to be the surprise. Yeah, that was the way. And you guys were like eye to eye, and I was just like, Alonzo.
Yeah, I insisted Brandon take a paternity test.
And here we are. Oh,
yo,
shout out to
Forge.
What's going on? Pressable defects, man. Guy
Forge.
The many faces and many voices and 10 marons on my scale, if you will. All right, so let's go ahead and give the herd a little rundown. Let's go ahead and go over some origin of Mr. Scott Summers, and also let's give the origin to Havok, and then we're gonna get into some questions. I gotta break the monotony, like hands gotta fly, guys.
Yeah, hands you gotta fly. So Havok is the middle child, right? Which is kind of a little bit of a disposition for him because the middle child kind of always gets it rough. The whole story to the Summers family is the two parents, Corsair, and then his wife. I forget her name, honestly. She's not really that important to the two their mythos. But there was a plane crash, right? And the two Summers went into an orphanage. Havok woke up before Cyclops, and he went out to go onto his own adventure in Nebraska. And the orphanage was actually owned by Mr. Sinister. That ended up Scott. It's retold that Sinister was in charge because obviously when Scott joined the X-Men, Sinister wasn't a character, but Scott ended up joining the X-Men. Havok didn't join until issue 54, and then was a key character into the whole Sauron arc, and that kicked off his relationship with Lorna Dane, aka Polaris, who we all know is my wifey. If you don't know that, she's my wifey. Havok's power set is he can manipulate ambiotic energy, so we can transfer it. If anyone has ever seen X-Men First Class, they do a great job of explaining his power set and how it works, right? So he's able to absorb energy and redirect it. Bishop, it's different than Bishop if you guys are familiar with him because he deals with more kinetic energy. Havok's is more of almost like a battery. It's like an electric flow almost. That's the best way that I can explain that. It's harder to explain his character because he's always kind of cast aside to Cyclops because Cyclops was always kind of like the golden child. He's Xavier's one of his first students, his first leader.
He's a Boy Scout.
Right. Yeah, he's Cyclops is like Xavier's yes man, kind of, kind of like the one to always deliver the bad news, the one to lead the team, take the baggage, and also take all the fame and fortune for when they succeed. But Havok has always kind of been the one who just does what needs to be done. He's really laid back. When he's called upon, he never fails. And he's an overall great leader. He never really goes off the deep end, I would say. Kind of like how Cyclops is very emotional. I would say Havok is just a little bit more wiser. He kind of sits back and watches everything. I can explain the character. I'm explaining the character. Come on now. Hi, Alonzo. We're getting on the show.
I was actually gonna say, Brando. I was gonna say, if anybody wanted to know Havok, Brando's gonna give you the rundown. He's giving you the rundown right now. I mean, we haven't even started. The shots have not been fired yet. I mean, they were fired earlier, but I'm not seeing. I'm getting explanation.
So for true X-Men fans, right, Havok has always gotten his love with X Factor. He's gotten his love with the Uncanny that Brubaker did, which is more of a modern tale. But in the past, during Claremont and Burns, Havok and Polaris really took a back seat, really until the 90s, until like that team kicked off. And then he was the leader of Uncanny Avengers, which was handpicked by Captain America. So that is not something to be left unnoted, right? Captain America, one of the best leaders that comic books have ever seen, handpicked Havok to lead a team with both X-Men and Avengers. And it was a great story. Rick Remender wrote that. So if you guys are interested in that, that's a great story as well.
All right. Perfect, dude. That's a great rundown on Havok, man. This is what we need. We need rundowns. We need to, for the newer viewers, for new subscribers that are getting in, you guys are getting a deep dive of X-Men Brethren. So let's go ahead and jump into Scott Summers. So, I mean, are you going to put your visor on, brother? Give us a rundown.
Here. So that was cute.
That was.
So let's talk about the prodigal son, the firstborn, the first X-Man, and that's Cyclops.
Just because he's the first doesn't mean he's the best.
So yes. So Havok is the younger brother. He's the middle brother. And, whenever I think of Havok, the first thing that comes to mind...
a Care Bear.
He's like a Care Bear. He's got the costume with the little thing around his chest. And he's kind of grumpy and, a little surly.
Oh.
So this is what I think of when I think of Havok.
What?
So yes, so Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men, right? He manages the team. All the responsibilities fall on his shoulder. And whenever you're the leader, you get all the blame and none of the credit. Right? So Cyclops is
plenty of credit. No,
Cyclops is essentially Cyclops is Captain America. He's the leader of his team.
Captain
right? He's not your friend, he's not your boss. And as much as I respect Havok as the middle child, kind of forgot to go over a little history of Havok's origins, right? So Havok, Cyclops thrown out of a plane. Yep, that's true, right? They both pass out when they land on the ground. They kind of get rescued, and they're at the orphanage. Cyclops does not get adopted. Havok does, right? So Havok family adopts Havok, and
he's the better brother. Enough said. You can confirm in the first 5 seconds of the show. He's
the younger brother. He's the younger brother, right? So they felt bad for him. So these foster parents adopt him, and he couldn't live up to their image, right? Because these foster parents lost a child, and they were looking for someone to kind of, replace their child in his image, and Havok just didn't live up to it, right? So it's a long and winding story, but at the end of the day, he's no longer with that family. So he gets abandoned by his parents. He gets abandoned by his foster parents. And then as an adult, he gets kidnapped by the living pharaoh, right? So in this early history, he's already been displaced 3 times, right? So like you said, his origin issue 54, and somehow he gets out of that situation, right? And he gets kidnapped again, this time by Larry Trask, right? So that's 4 times he's been kidnapped or abandoned early in his history. And what does Larry Trask do? He dresses him up and gives him his nickname. Right, so he doesn't even have his own identity. Somebody has to give him his identity, right? So So again, sometimes he gets out of that situation. He's no longer with the team for a little while, right? The X-Men go about their way, and eventually you get to Giant Size X-Men 1, right? And he's sent to Krakoa to essentially try and rescue the original X-Men. And then he gets captured by Krakoa. Right? So that's 5 times already that essentially
Him and
has not.
the OG team got captured by Krakoa.
But he was captured. He was captured, right?
He was the leader of that team, so that falls on him. That falls on him. He was not prepared.
So he gets captured, and again, they find their way out of the situation years later. He gets captured again by the Living Pharaoh. Right? Once again, he gets captured again by the Living Pharaoh. And so it's just been a history of really not having a place on the team, not really having a place.
Like he has a history of just getting captured because of poor decisions.
Yes, that's certainly part of his character. But so that's a little bit of the history of the two brothers, right? So, Steve, we can move on from there.
All right, perfect. So
I would like to address Glenn's comment. I can certainly talk in a Mickey Mouse tank top because, Mickey Mouse was the cash crop of Disney, for years to come. Ooh. So I can wear. Mickey's had enough fame to his name,
All right. So now that we got the origins, we're gonna go ahead and give it a rundown. I want to hear the debate. I want to know. So we're gonna start it out first. I mean, I saw the anime hit it already. Like to him, he's saying, like he got with Phoenix. End of story. So we're
talking about the same leader that left his pregnant fiance.
So let me open up with the question, Brando. We're gonna go with who has the better dime piece. Who has a better dime piece? I mean, we got to open up that way. This is how shots are fired. This is where the wits come out.
So here's the thing, right? So for everybody who knows, Cyclops has had a long tenured relationship with Jean Grey, and once she was presumed dead, and I believe it was 113 or 114 of Uncanny, right? When the team gets kind of separated from themselves, and it's like Beast and Jean, like kind of on their own, right after the whole Savage Land arc. Jean is presumed to be dead, right? So Scott doesn't really cope with that. He just goes and dates Colleen Wing, right? So now when Jean is realize that she's not dead, he kind of is in a tough situation. Cyclops does not have, he has women. Havok is known to be in a relationship with one person. He is loyal to a fault. Is his relationship with Polaris the best thing in the world? No, not at all. Right? It takes 2 to tango, right? Not only that, Cyclops went on to date Madeline Pryor to go back to Jean to then end up with Emma Frost after Jean is now dead for real. If you look at Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon, the very first page, Wolverine sitting on the side of the bed. He's like, so what part of the coping is what kind of the grief is this? The denial or come on. Cyclops is the definition of poor rebound sex. That's not a great leader. That is not a great character. Havok has had a much more long-term relationship with Polaris. The relationship to me is more meaningful because it's always not everyone gives them that attention, but there's so much beauty in it, right? Don't turn the page on something that you haven't explored yet. If you actually look at their relationship, it is something to be said. It's more of how a normal relationship works. Jean Grey was always kind of like that cool little schoolgirl, right? Doing everything by the letters, right? There really wasn't much dynamic to that, right?
Right.
What was really great about Havok and Polaris is they really symbolize the real relationship. Not everything is perfect. You're going to have fights.
So even though he is been in serious relationships, though, I mean, you got to admit, and this is where I'm going to deviate to Wong, because the boys had several women. I mean, that says a lot, right? He's a charmer, and although these relationships,
he's a fuckboy. Let's be honest.
So as long as he's kind of, I mean, he has a track record. I mean, these the beautiful women he's had, man. Jean is one top tier. Oh, right here, big station to Eric. What's going on, Eric? Shout out to Eric.
Vulcan is just the matter brother. Vulcan is just no.
Yo, he's a younger brother, right? All right, look at this. DX is wanting to get up in here too. And you should have been the Vulcan brother. All right. So let's go with SumTingWong. SumTingWong, Brando is blessing us with mad information. True to the fact that he is a reader, man, he is able to come up with these facts because he's read the story. So I mean, he's in the right direction, man. So I got to see what you're gonna bring to the table, man. Why? Who's the better Summers brother? Who's the ladies?
All right, so fair points. But let's not overlook the fact that Polaris was Iceman's girlfriend in the beginning.
Iceman
Iceman
is not great anymore. That's like that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
We're not rewriting history here. Back in the 60s.
Iceman is a random. That doesn't count. She moved on to someone bigger and better.
Time out.
Random.
Time out. Let him go. Let's see where this lands. Shout out to Azores Tigers. If you guys missed the rewind for Lunar, go ahead and check it out, man. My man was
great show.
All right.
Yeah, with Jeff, yes. So so Polaris was Iceman's girlfriend, and Havok decided he was going to go ahead and steal her. So certainly that's part of the history. And then also, don't forget that Havok also became involved with Madeline Pryor during Wolverine and the X-Men as the Goblin Queen. So he's not as squeaky clean as he is made out to be.
And neither is Cyclops.
Now, I can't argue
he left his impregnant girlfriend. That's a shitty thing to do. Talk about a leader. You don't leave somebody when they're pregnant. You got to wait till the baby is born and then call it quits. You got to see what the baby looks like first. He didn't even do that. He said, nah, fuck it. Sorry.
I can't argue that Cyclops has made mistakes. But as a leader, sometimes you have to do things that are not palatable. So would anyone argue that Mahatma Gandhi was not a great spiritual leader?
You're hitting us with that history, right? Okay.
I thought we were talking about comic books.
So Gandhi was a known womanizer.
True chain.
So, and history will show that he's as revered as anybody, and his proclivities were often overlooked because of his importance in history. So, and he even actually, it was believed that he dated, women that were wed. So, so again, everyone has their eccentricities, and it's hard to argue the fact that yes, Cyclops has made some poor decisions, but that doesn't necessarily make him the worst brother.
I think that really plays a point to his character. It's really cool because a lot of times when you go back and you read some like these niche X-Men titles, such as like New Mutants, you see that some of these characters in their leadership roles are compared to Cyclops because he was the first. You automatically have to, right? Cyclops is one of the better leaders in comics. Yes, I will agree. He has had the most experience in a lot of situations. In a lot of respect, he is like Aaron Rodgers. Except, Aaron Rodgers, instead of running for the touchdown, he decided to throw it 2 years ago in the conference finals and then go to the Super Bowl, right? He thought he could make it the next year, didn't happen, right? So I see Cyclops a lot like Aaron Rodgers because that's kind of how it goes down. For anyone who's familiar with Green Bay's history of choking, that's essentially Scott Summers. But I digress. You have like other characters like Danielle Moonstar, who is compared to be right on par with Cyclops in their training and their leadership. You go back to New Mutants, I believe it was right after the Demon Bear arc. You actually see Charo's little anecdotes of Danielle Moonstar, a character that not everybody knows, was stated in fact to be just as good of a leader as Scott Summers. So that leads me to think, is he really that special? Is he really that special? And it comes down to it's because he's the first one. There are other leaders, right? If Danielle Moonstar got that attention, she would be just as good. She was on record on par with him. Havok in Uncanny Avengers, right? He's leading people of different groups. Now, keep in mind the mutants and the humans and the Avengers. Their goal in that book was to prove to the world that the X-Men are not all that evil, right? We were coming out of Civil War. We're coming out of a time where you can't really trust superheroes. You can't really even trust the X-Men in this part, right? What up, Lord Chucks? Yeah, see, put some respect on the crown. It's Havok. Come on now. You can't go against a crown and a Mickey shirt. Come on. But to me, it's like, is leadership is like anyone could be a leader, right? But it's really about your character, who you are, what you do on the back end. Or is it really just that leadership just a front? And I think with Cyclops, a lot of that is just a front. There are much better leaders than him. He was just one of the first dynamic ones. I'm breathing.
through your nose, though?
All right, so we have to remember the X-Men launched in early
Brennan,
1963, right?
Bros, bro.
I said a crown.
So
so.
hard to argue the crown. So the X-Men were created as a metaphor, right, for racism and homophobia, right? That
Correct.
was part of their origins, right? So Xavier was often linked or compared to someone like MLK, right? Kind of a pacifist, had his ideas, his kind of idealism, right? And then you have Magneto, that was maybe more like the Malcolm X type character, right? That maybe wanted to kind of bring about his dreams or his passions through some action. Cyclops was kind of caught in between the two, right? So he's trying to live Xavier's dream, right, of coexistence, right? But then he's on the front lines, right, battling not only other mutants, but also humans now that want to destroy, right, mutants. And then you have the other side where you have Magneto, who is all about wanting action, right? And wanting to rule, through conquering, through fear, right? So that puts Cyclops in a really difficult position, right? On the one hand, he wants to be that pacifist, but on the other hand, he's on the front line battling, right? So how do you draw that line?
Ask Anakin Skywalker. He did it perfectly. It's called aggressive.
He did make choices.
Attack the clones.
Right.
So I want to add to Wong. I want to piggyback off of Wong because I've read some recently. He's also kind of been put in a position where he's being lied to certain times, and kind of just like to Brandon's point, he's Professor Xavier's yes man. He just goes for it. He just
at least Havok kind of sticks to his beliefs, man. Like,
but
that's why he's not on the main X-Men team a whole lot.
But at that point though, it is a character builder because he kind of always rises to the occasion. So sorry, Wong. I just wanted to add.
That's why Captain America chose Havok, because he knew that maybe he would make the right decisions, not what everyone agrees with, but he would make the right decisions, right? And in the long term, that the mutants are all about that long-term plan, right? They're all about that long term. That's Xavier's dream, right? Is eventually 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe even 15, we'll get there with the humans, right? Cyclops was always kind of like, we're going to act here and now, kind of doing everything in the here and now. We were talking about relationships earlier. That was in the here and now. He never really gave himself any time to breathe, any time to cope with anything. He was just like, on to the next one, But with Havok, he always kind of shared that same thing that Xavier did, that longer term vision, like, we're going to make this choice here, which will lead to this one. Like, I think Havok, if Havok and Scott played chess, I think Havok would win. Havok is a much more intelligent person when you're seeing the whole scope of the board game rather than just focusing on that little pawn, right? With that to make Cyclops a good leader is that he does focus on that inclusion, but overall, you're not going to achieve that goal when you're trying just to win all the small battles and you're not focused on the larger task at hand. That's Havok, in my opinion. Okay, also, here's my question. Would you trust a leader, right? So, not trying to get all political, right? But when Bill Clinton was caught cheating, right? Didn't mean he was a bad leader, right? We're not talking about that. That just means he was a questionable person, right? He just wasn't a good husband, right? Well, at the core, was he an honest person? No, because he cheated, committed adultery. And that called for an impeachment. Cyclops has done that twice. He's done that twice. One was Colleen Wing, which Jean was presumed dead, of course, right? But still, you didn't give yourself time to really figure that out because at the end of the day, you didn't know that. The second was in the new X-Men with Grant Morrison with Emma Frost. Would you trust a leader that has been known to go behind his partner's back? He's someone who he's supposed to love to the core, someone who he's supposed to trust more than anybody. And he broke that trust.
Yeah, not unfair. We had talked about leaders making questionable decisions sometimes, right? And listen, in my mind, Cyclops is the victim. Okay, and why do I say that? Again, going back to his origins back in the 60s with the original X-Men, right? We've all kind of learned through the years that, Professor X is probably the biggest propagator of a lot of issues the X-Men have undergone in the history of the book, right? Right. He essentially he's lied. Right. Xavier's lied. He's cheated. Right. He's done all those things, and Cyclops has kind of gotten caught in between. May 22. So originally, as you were saying about Cyclops and women, right? So early on in the X-Men's history, Jean Grey was kind of introduced as a character, that was really kind of the damsel in distress, right? If you read kind of the early X-Men stories, she's kind of in the background a little bit. She kind of needs rescuing, and it's just kind of how they wrote books back in the 60s, right?
Definitely.
So as the team kind of progressed, and they introduced the new X-Men, right? Claremont essentially wanted to write out all the original X-Men, right? That was the genesis of the story, because he wanted to write all the original X-Men out so that he could bring in this new team of X-Men, right? And this had to do with the civil rights movement, right? That's what Claremont was trying to, and Len, right? They were trying to kind of incorporate that story into the 70s. And who gets caught in between? Right? Cyclops gets caught in between again. Right? So he's the punching bag. He's the guy that has to, essentially bring these two eras together. And, that was not an easy thing to do. Right? And then they had to find a way to write Cyclops out eventually, right? So as you kind of go through the early new X-Men stories, you get through the Dark Phoenix saga, right? Cyclops leaves the team, right? That was the genesis of a lot of the problems he would encounter that Brandon talked about, right? With Madeline Pryor and Sinister and all those stories, in the later 100s, right? Early 200s.
Well, okay.
So, go ahead, Brandon.
Okay. Steve, can you raise up Chef RD's comment about Cyclops begging Jean Grey?
Oh yeah.
Here's my question. Let me ask the ladies in the chat. J Rails, Michelle. Michelle's actually live on IG right now. Sheena, I'm talking to you guys right now. My heart is speaking to you. Do you guys prefer a man who slept with multiple women, or one man who stays with his girl over a course of years and years and works on their relationship, not just leaves them, right? Doesn't cheat on them. What would you guys prefer in your leader?
Well,
the truth would be multiple women, because
sometimes relationships don't work out, man.
They want a guy that
Alex got with Janet. He got with the Wasp, and she's pretty bad, man. She can fly. She can do a lot of things with those position changements. I'm sorry, but that's good right there.
Praying mantis position.
Yeah, exactly. That's like something that you can't even find in like America. You can only find there.
Oh, Jesus, that's right, dude.
What would the ladies like? Let's ask a lady. Let's ask them. I want their opinion now.
Yeah, the ladies. What do you got to say? They're gonna say they want like I can't even say. I mean, like I'm not one of them. Right here, Chef Hardy. So what you're saying is Cyclops has problem controlling.
Yeah, keep that shit.
Oh, 22, man. 22s.
I love that guy.
He's freaking hilarious. Oh my god. All right, so I mean, I was gonna walk in with this and just say, like, God, if I had to think, I mean, a better costume, I mean, I got to give it to Havok. That leather jacket says it all for me. I mean, but and then in leading.
Oh, shut that shit down. That is wrong. You know what? That is the look on your face, knowing that Havok is the better brother. You're sitting there like
plasma blast.
Oh, that's just a bunch of blueberries. Come on now.
Oh my god, dude! Right here, see. Look.
But what?
She said, "I'm in love with multiple."
I mean, if it looks like it can pop out of the page like that, then sure, go with it. But
I mean, that's coming from a female portion of the herd and comic community.
I think in just trying to say she prefers a man with some experience.
Yeah.
Having
will
a
say
plenty of experience just with one person. Cyclops just trying out to get the best STD, trying to lead the X-Men and getting STDs.
But he can put it down though. I mean, and that
He can't
counts,
control.
so Brandon.
That's what he said. He cannot control his one-eyed monster.
You're right. He can't control it. He controls it somewhere else.
Hey, listen,
Optic blasting.
It's a two-way street.
Wait, I'm not even supposed to be in this debate.
All right,
Heck,
unless you're Glenn.
It's a slobber knocker. All right, go for it, guys. I'm sorry, Mike.
All right, so where were we? Where were we, Steve?
All right. So in becoming a leader, I mean, this is kind of not fair to Havok. So I'm Brando. I'm sure you're gonna have great explanations on this because again, you each one teach one, don't hide it, divide it, and this is what I love. But also, I mean, Cyclops got a great track record. Who's going to be the better leader of their team, dude? Because I mean, you got more footage, you got more comics out there than you can imagine. But if you had to look at it, I mean, Brandon, I know you're gonna. We'll start off with you because I know you were in the back. In the back of he was already getting started. I said, hold on. I was like, let's wait to get that question out the way. So let's go and start. Well, actually, let's start with Wong.
Yeah,
let's start with Wong. Wong had the you had the last one. Let's give it to Wong. Wong, hit it.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Mango drink.
So they have to introduce Vulcan because Havok was such a boring character that they really had nothing left to say.
You mean to tell me that they decided to introduce Vulcan years and years later after Havok was already an established character because he was boring? He came in 53 issues after Scott. How is that after the fact? That is just wrong, Wong. Come on, you're better than that, man.
All I know is they had to retrofit a third Summers brother.
Havok had to take down Vulcan. It wasn't until X-Men Legends #1 Vulcan was kind of It wasn't until it was like kind of canonized that he was there in the 90s, right? He just wasn't introduced until like the early 2000s. No. Get out of here! Get out! No! Are we not going to dismiss the fact that Scott was the one who screwed over his own brother Vulcan? Havok had to go clean up that mess when Vulcan decided to go out and take over the Shi'ar Empire and make Gladiator his little bitch. That's what happened.
I just want to make a note that
let's get Wong in there.
Q is co-signing Inja's reaction. She also prefers a man that has.
Well, if y'all like the fact that popped out of the page, that's on y'all. But
that was her comment, bro. She's like, "My name's Bennett, and I ain't in it." They're like this, and then they got their popcorn like this.
Yeah, they're like.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm trying to. Brandon, you're gonna have your final shot, brother. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's like hopping over me, and I'm like. Jeez, my closet almost fell
You're
over,
the
guys.
host. You can mute me anytime. I just wanted to let you know that.
I know.
You got the power.
I know.
All right, where were we? What was the question?
The team. Who
you
leads the team better?
Question.
No. We're gonna go with Wong first, and then I was gonna get you after. Right.
So all the X-Men's major victories had Cyclops at the helm.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right. So. It's 60 years. The team's still here. He's still the leader. So kind of hard to argue 60 years of success, right? And all right, let me put it this way: Wolverine respects Cyclops.
You respect Havok.
That's why he's on the team, right? You have this loner, right? Wolverine, who could never really be a leader, right? Because he's all about himself and he's a loner.
He has led the X-Men.
When they were at school. He was like a principal. He was like a principal. He's like Mr. Belding.
He's like Mr. Belding.
All right, he rang a bell and he was at the local local shop once in a while to hang out with the kids.
He was the old gym teacher.
Gym teacher / sex ed teacher.
Keep in mind, if you want to bring Wolverine to this, practically speaking, he's more experienced. He is much wiser. He has seen more than Cyclops. That's just a fact. So you can't really compare one person's war history to another because Wolverine excels more. He just was never going to be the leader because Cyclops was always kind of groomed into that role. That's the nature of the fact. Wolverine could very well lead the X-Men. He has Charles's trust. He has had Charles's trust to stand up to Cyclops when he's on his bullshit. That's why Wolverine is there to check Cyclops on his nonsense that happens damn near every time.
All right. Well, you're going to be saved by the bell right now. I'm about to be Mr. Belding. Let's swing on back to Wong, and then Brandon. The deaf. You can Din Monk him after, bro. Like I'm having like he's karate. He's going to karate chop you, Wong. You better bring it because he's ready. He's already getting his ducks lined up in a row.
Listen, Cyclops built X-Force, right? X Factor, right? So he had a second act. When Havok never even really had a first act.
That's wrong. I didn't know if it was my turn to elaborate.
Yeah, go ahead.
So think of this, right? Think of this like in sports, right? A lot of times we have players that we don't really give a chance to, right? We kind of they sit on the bench, they get their minutes, right? If anyone's familiar with Kurt Warner, Hall of fucking Famer, Kurt Warner, right? Or he will be a Hall of Famer, undrafted free agent, right? A lot of teams passed on him, and then he ended up getting the starting job, and now he's like what, 2-time Super Bowl champ, right? Went to Super Bowl against my Steelers. Unfortunately, he lost. X Factor it wasn't reject X-Men. Come on, now 22, we were just on the same page. But but you look at like a lot of these sports players, like kind of go undrafted. They get noticed. Somebody picks them up. They groom them, right? That's kind of Havok, right? How can you really judge? How can you really compare apples to oranges when Havok hasn't really gotten a shot a whole lot of times with like Cyclops dies? He's kind of like living in that shadow, but he's making the most of opportunities. You cannot tell me one time where Havok has really let the team down as a whole compared to Cyclops. So in my mind, he should be given more chances because he keeps showing his worth, his value to the team. So you can't really say like, because they've both been around for a lot of times, right? They've both been around for over 60 years, or around 60 years now. Yeah, around 60 years, something like that.
There's some old brothers.
Give or take, right? So based off like their experiences, they're obviously two different people. But Havok is kind of like, he's been 6 Man of the Year. He's never going to let you down, but he's only just going to add to the mythos. He's only going to add to everything going on, right? Back to what I was talking about with Vulcan. Scott screwed over Vulcan, pissed Vulcan off to the point where he went out and took over the Shi'ar Empire, right? Damn near killed Lilandra, right? Almost took her house. It wasn't until Havok went in to clean up his brother's mess, his older brother's mess, right? To really take care of his family, right? It was him and Corsair. And Polaris was there with him, because, wifey always got to support. That's a relationship right there. That ain't oh yeah, Gene, you're dead. 2 days later, he's like, calling fucking Wing. Who's Colleen Wing? She's a random.
Sheena's here.
Hi, Sheena.
Sheena, weigh in. You want a man with experience, or do you want a
loyal man? You know what?
Do you want to marry your high school sweetheart?
You know what? You really want to talk about this? Wolverine, you were talking about how much respect Wolverine had for Cyclops. Wolverine thinks he's a bitch. He slept with his wife on multiple occasions.
True,
who lets that happen? Cyclops wouldn't say nothing about it. He let that happen. Cyclops has slept with multiple women, and has other people bad women. This guy is the definition of poor rebound sex. Havok is with the same person more often than not. He's only had like 2 relationships, right?
But this is why we ask the ladies, though, Brandon. I mean, I guess
just right. Ladies. Who would you guys want? A loyal man, or somebody who just fucks around, goes one to the other? Come on now.
We already know J Rails and Injo don't want.
Yeah, we already know. Yeah.
But, no, they said they like the 2-dimensional peckers in the page. Like that doesn't do anything for me.
We're talking about Cyclops as a leader, and then Cyclops as a man.
I'm saying can't trust a man. You can't trust a man as a leader because he's not loyal to his partners on multiple occasions. Multiple occasions. He has done that. He screwed over his own family. He screwed over his women. Come on now. You can't really pretend to look at. That's why Wolverine calls him on his BS. That's why Wolverine has led the X-Men team before.
He likes to wet his beak. You can't hate on a guy that likes to wet
Everyone
his
likes
beak.
to wet their beak. Everybody likes to wet their beak. It's about how patient you can be as leader. That's why when I said when you're going with the long game, which has always been the mutant agenda, Havok fits that much better than Cyclops, who only operates in the here and now, which often, more times than not, backlashes 10 issues later. That's a fact.
Right.
Anyone could go back to the John Byrne run and the Chris Claremont run and look at that, and that's there. Go read X Factor. Havok is a G. Uncanny Avengers. Havok is a great leader. Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire. Havok was there when Vulcan and Black Bolt went head to head. I'm reading that right now, so I know it.
All I'm saying is since 1963, Cyclops has led the team. And yes, Kurt Warner,
That's your only point.
nice little player, Kurt Warner, right? But
Everyone's
Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl rings.
Okay,
right? And
he never cheated on his wife.
And the point is, if we're talking about leadership, Cyclops has led the team for 60 years. All right, Havok's been given the bone here or there. He's come off the bench and played a couple of minutes. He's John Stark did for a couple of minutes. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a Hall of Fame MVP with multiple rings.
Cyclops has never been the Hall of Fame of that team. No,
Hall of Fame. He's the only.
No,
he's the only character that survived off this team for 60 years.
See, that's all you're saying is 6 years, 60 years. My grandpa's 60 years.
It's got to count. It's got to count for something.
Actually, no, my dad's 60 years old. But it doesn't count for something. That doesn't count for something. But how many times those 6 years has he made critical mistakes?
Everyone makes mistakes.
No.
It's all about the good times, right?
It's all about the good times.
Oh my gosh. Scott, here's the difference between the two brothers, right? Why has Scott been in that leadership role more than, let's say, Danielle Moonstar, Havok, Storm, who is an exquisite leader, Jean Grey, who led the team with X-Men Red, Wolverine, who is Scott has always desired that role because he has that insecurity about himself to always be proving something to somebody else. He always has something else to prove, right? He's always like trying to overdo things to the point where it's his insecurities are overshadowing his intent. That's why he's been the leader for 60 years, is because he desires that role more than anybody. Storm, Wolverine, Havok, they never, ever, ever chased down that role. Danielle Moonstar, Xavier, or Captain America, other well-pronounced leaders in the Marvel Universe, much bigger than some little Scott Summers, approached them to lead those teams. They never sought it out, and I guarantee they did a much better job than Mr. Little, what did we say? The guy with the one-eyed laser that just can't keep it in his pants? That one.
The player?
Scott's had to come in and rescue the team multiple times.
True.
He doesn't necessarily look for it, but who do they go to when it's a critical mission? They go to Cyclops.
Honestly, they go to Wolverine. They go to Wolverine because he does what needs to be done. They know that Wolverine can go in and get out and do whatever needs to be done, right? Days of Future Past. Who'd you send back? You sent back Wolverine. You ain't sent back no Cyclops. Cyclops is a bitch. Wolverine knows that.
You're rolling on.
Cyclops had a big role. Cyclops had a big role in forming the X-Force team with Wolverine in there, right? So he's the one that started that program, that put the team together, right? So Wolverine still played second fiddle on his own team.
Because that was a choice. That was a choice.
Yes, it was a
second fiddle. It was never like second fiddle, like, oh, you're better than me. Wolverine was always just like, he was there to question Cyclops. Without that yin and yang contrast, Cyclops would have made so many mistakes. Look at how many mistakes Wolverine has kept him from doing. When Havok makes a decision, right, everyone knows that is the right call. Everybody knows, right? The only person who really helped him evaluate was Polaris because she saw his end game, but she just like reminded him of, you got to play that long game with these guys. You can't be making these rash decisions that Cyclops has made time and time again. In the amount of times that Havok has been a leader for the X-Men, it's been much more sufficient than Cyclops. That's a fact.
Yeah, yes.
That's a fact. He's always
during the Little League games, yes. Yes, he's been really good at being the leader.
Started X-Force. If you really want to look at it that way. Cable's when he really started it.
The Remender X-Force.
X-Force in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah, Steve? If you're forming, yeah, exactly. It's Mr. Cyclops. That's like Mr. Potato Head. I ain't calling him Mr. Potato. He's Cyclops. He's Scott Summers.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and go for the kill. Final round. I know you guys have just gone off on each other, but let's go ahead and get this in. Brando, I'm gonna reserve the right to pull the red card out on you. We're gonna let Wong go fully through, and then you can
Hey, I'm
you can
sitting.
you can go
hey,
you can go
I'm
go
sitting
for
in
the throat.
silence.
Lint. You can go like that if you want, but go ahead, Wong. Close it
All right.
out. Let's close shop. Let's see. Let's see the final debate.
All right, so I'm going to debate Cyclops as a leader, right? So, as we talked about in the beginning, leaders have to make unpopular decisions. They're not your friend, right? They're your boss, right? They're your manager. And not everyone's going to agree, but if the job gets done, you did your job, right? So, we talked about Gandhi, right? Everyone's got flaws, right? Winston Churchill, known racist, right? But very instrumental, right, in historical terms, right? Lincoln, known racist, right? But you wouldn't discount him as a leader, right? You may not like his character; he has flaws, but you look at him and you look at his historical significance, and he's a leader, right? Jefferson, right? Same thing, leader. We won't go into his personal life too much, but everyone knows he made some questionable decisions along the way. Everyone here is a Disney fan, right? Right? Walt Disney, well known anti-Semite,
I'm Jewish.
right? So again, no one's saying he's a great man, but we all buy his stuff. We go to his parks. He is a leader in his industry, right? But in his personal life, he's got flaws, right? Philosophers like Aristotle, same thing, right? Revered his teachings, right? His philosophy, but he had issues with women, right? And that doesn't make him
Not only women.
It doesn't make him necessarily a bad person, but it does question some of his character, right?
Wait.
We've all grown up on Dr. Seuss, right?
Oh, don't cancel that, man! No. No.
We've all grown up on Dr. Seuss. We've read his books. We read them. We read his books to our children if we have children. He was known at the time to be against Japanese, right? So again, flaws, right? But you still look at him as someone who was a leader in his field, right? So even a guy like Edison, right? Edison was known for torturing animals, stealing ideas.
I'm surprised you haven't named shittier people in history.
So how many of us have?
You're naming people that is like, first off, Abraham Lincoln is one who helped free the slaves. So for everyone was raised at the time. It's just like the degree of it, like you can't.
Understood. All right. Who has Apple products? Phone, computer, pad. Steve Jobs.
Apple product.
Right? Steve Jobs, a leader in his field. Not well liked universally. Right? He had personal issues with his daughter. He's still a great leader. He's still a great innovator.
But people don't trust him, right?
But,
he's a shitty person.
Well, yes, you can say you don't trust him, but you still buy his products. Right? So all I'm saying is, Cyclops, again, he's a leader, whether we want to accept that or not. And yes, he has flaws in his character. He's made decisions about women, right? About Jean, right? Madeline, however you want to put it. That yes, you can question his integrity. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about two brothers where they had to introduce a third brother because the middle brother was so lame.
What the?
He is the better leader, right? He's just the better character. And I know I keep going back to history, but it's been 60 years. he's still around. Right, he's still around.
But if you added years to Havok, he'd still be around closer to that 60 years because he's led his team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
Yes, and
Wong, I will give it to you. You make some excellent points, but you're still wrong, and this is why.
all right, fine, go.
So, yes, Cyclops is the better leader, but all the people you named have tragic flaws for people to not like them. They're not liked for a reason.
Okay, kill him.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. Go ahead. Like I'm saying, okay, go in for the kill.
Because
kill him.
They are shitty people. Cyclops has been known to be a yes man. Havok has been trusted. Why does Xavier turn to him when shit hits the fan and he actually needs a decision? Because Havok is one to really see that long game. He kind of shares Xavier's vision that way, where we're not going to get everyone's trust right then and there. We're going to build that, right? First off, that whole bit about Vulcan being introduced because Havok is lame, that's wrong. That is 125% wrong.
Grades for life.
Right.
What's up, J2?
What up, J2? See, J2
Hey,
knows
J2.
I'm right? J2 knows I'm right. Havok is a much better person. You're talking about Scott's love life like it's nothing, you know? Like, people can be in leadership roles with tragic past. Look at our most recent president. Like him or not, he's a shitty person, but people still looked up to him as a leader. Meanwhile, 75% of the nation were looking to impeach him because he was a shitty person. Right? That's a fact. If you really want to talk about history, you want to talk about all these different people in power, right? How do they get to that position of power is by deceiving people, by manipulating other people. Scott Summers has done that. Scott Summers is a shitty person. He has gone against his family. He has gone against multiple lovers, multiple love interests, right? Just rebound after rebound after rebound, right? A lot of times he gets captured because, right, he either second-guessed himself and did not make the right decision, or he just flat out made the poor decision. As a leader, you also have to accept that responsibility for being a shitty person. Not everybody is perfect, but at least Havok is more intelligent. He is more intellectually sound, and given the space, he's a much more dynamic character. Exactly. Scott didn't even agree with his leader's philosophy. Havok is the one who shares that long-term goal. Right? I don't care if they've been around. I don't care if they've been around for 6 years. You can be around for 6 years and not have any work done. Right? MJ has been Spider-Man's girlfriend for the better part of 40 years now. And guess what? She's seen anything more than Spider-Man's girlfriend, a side character. Scott Summers has not been known anything other than a yes man. If you look at characters' growth, Havok has not had a lot of attention, but he's had more growth. He's had more potential than Cyclops, because Cyclops has always suffered from that glass ceiling, because at the end of the day, he's owned by Professor X and he is owned by Wolverine.
Listen, Jeff just debunked his own statement, right?
So
Jeff said Scott didn't even agree with his leader's philosophy. You can't be a yes man
but he
not
still
agree
said
with
yes to everything. He still said yes to everything Xavier said. He never once questioned Xavier. Never once did. You know, is the argument who is the better leader, or who is overall the better character, the better person? Havok is Havok checks off more columns of someone that I would want in my corner than Cyclops. At the end of the day, Captain America handpicked Havok for his character because he saw himself in Havok. If you like Captain America, you see what Captain America represents. That's what he saw in Havok. He saw Havok as the olive branch between the Avengers and between the mutants. That's a fact that a lot of people, that is such an an underrated fact, in my opinion. Such an underrated fact.
How'd that work out? How'd that work out for them?
Worked out great. It was a great series. Havok got a lot of great character moments. I recommend everyone reading that.
What was the next read, Brando?
Uncanny Avengers.
There you go. All right. You guys freaking just slap the shit out of each other, going back and forth into the stands, into the herd, for God's sakes. They were just like, and even push me around, for God's sakes. And I'm
so sorry, Steve.
It's okay, dude. I mean,
sorry, Steve.
You guys scared me.
I know this is much for you.
Yeah. I mean, I love both you guys. This was a heartfelt fight, but someone pulled away. But I'm gonna let the herd chat. For me, man, Wong, I know you got the track record. I know you got the 60. I know you got the explanations. But Brando's He's
Don't
done a
sleep
lot
on
of the
him.
reading. He's
You
done
know,
a lot of
Havok
the
has always
reading.
had a stable relationship. The only time that Cyclops has had a stable relationship is now that it's an open
After
one with
makeup.
Wolverine too, and they're having a threesome. Come on now. Come on now.
Wolverine cries to Jean's picture.
Wouldn't you? She's hot. I mean, I know I would. I'd be like,
Right? That's not a point. That's just a fact. Like that doesn't do anything.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and run it down, guys, with the herd chat. Who do you guys think won in this great debate? Is it gonna be my man Brando over at Comics Kings with those pythons out, or is it gonna be Cyclops himself, executive producer? Sorry, Alonzo. I mean, for today, something's wrong. Something wrong is Cyclops.
Just for the hour. Just for this hour.
On that meme, I did not get that back, my brother. But if we did have that meme, it would be Cyclops. I won. Oh, thank you guys.
Steve wins.
No, okay. So Wong won. Okay, so who else?
Listen. Brandon definitely had good arguments. I can't argue the fact that Cyclops is
Brandon put it to the test.
A whole. Yes.
Look at right here. You got.
There you go, Steve. You won.
No. You guys all did great, man. I mean, see, this is great. This is what we wanted. We wanted to make sure that, for people that aren't reading any runs, I highly recommend, and we're going to go ahead and get on the speak on it part of this show. I'm going to give the floor to Brando. If you guys are wanting to read and dive into this hobby, get into this hobby, definitely sub up Comics Kings. Definitely sub up my man Brando. He goes through a plethora, a weekly wrap up of new comics that have come out. He's read them. He's already a week ahead and several months ahead. Not only that, but he gets to. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to shut up, Brando. Go ahead and speak on it, brother. Let him have it.
Weekly wrap up is our weekly comic book review show. Bryce and I recap, review. We discuss the books that we read. It's pretty straightforward. Sometimes we have a creator on. Sometimes we get issues ahead of time. That will be coming out that Wednesday, so you want to check that out. Sometimes we get like exclusive reviews from Marvel Comics, DC, and Image, or AWO, any company that says a lot of times, like some of our Creators Corner guests will be on that. So if you want to see like Philip Kennedy, like sometimes we might even see Jed McKay back on the show soon. Christ on Infinite Rants coming out tomorrow. That's my man Stefan Missing Link. That is the man with the knowledge. I love Stefan. That guy is an encyclopedia. That is the show where we analyze a comic book conversation or topic. Like you're just going to your LCS, you meet some guy, you talk about something. Tomorrow we're gonna be dropping the video where we're gonna be building an Avengers or an MCU themed amusement park. So that's gonna be dope. It's like, what if you can have some Easter eggs? Gotta do it. We already have like an Avengers theme park, but we can make it better. Come on now, we're gonna put our heads together for that. And then Fridays is archives, and then we can that's where we do like a trade paperback or a deep dive into a book. We got House of M coming out this Friday, so stay tuned for that. Which if you have not read House of M, that's a crux. That's a great story. And then Creators Corner is coming back. We got Cyclops coming on the 16th, and we have Roy Thomas coming on the 13th. Roy Thomas, legendary Roy Thomas, will be there. I believe he's well known for co-creating Havok, was it? Huh? Oh, yeah, right. So thank you, Rudy, for dropping the link, brother. I really appreciate you. And then other than that, that's what I do. My favorite thing to do is just talk about comic books, talk about these characters that we grow up loving, or that even like later in our adult lives, we kind of get attached to, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we kind of know these characters better than we know some of our friends, right? So that was like the whole point of this conversation is, because Logan, I love Logan to death. I love that man half to death, right? And so this is a lot of fun coming on here and just talking about two characters that we're both passionate about. But at the end of the day, it's all fun, it's all love. And hopefully we made a few people laugh and give out some good information. If that interests you, I would just highly recommend hitting that subscribe button because we do a lot of that over on Comics Kings. That's our whole goal. It's just to build a community that loves the hobby and just like loves just talking about all it has to offer.
Oh yeah, definitely, Brando, and much love and much thanks to you, man.
Much love to Wong too. You gonna meet me halfway, brother?
Yeah, listen,
hit him with it, brother.
Boom.
Yeah, definitely. You know what?
Come on,
Brandon, I have high hopes for this hobby. Whenever young collectors and young members of the community like Brandon are around, it does speak volumes to, I think, the health of the hobby and hopefully the longevity of the hobby. When we have really knowledgeable young collectors, that are really engaged. And
I did.
yeah, it's great. And for sure, Brandon definitely a wealth of knowledge. And yeah, I just wish I read more new books, so I kind of followed a lot of the things that you do.
Right,
But certainly,
even if you just want to catch up, that's what Weekly Wrap Up is there too. If you just want to know what's kind of going on, that's what that show's too. Therefore, as well.
Yeah, we talked recently about Miller Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's something that's amazing.
That's a book I can just recall an issue from. Boom. That's like that's like my favorite. That's my favorite run of all time.
Brandon's my encyclopedia. So if I have like questions, dude, I go to him and I'll be like, "Yo,
absolutely, it's impressive." Yes.
What should I read?
So much. I really appreciate the love that Team Nerdhood has shown and the community at large has shown. It's not always easy being 20 years old and trying to talk.
No, dude, you sashayed the whole damn thing, my brother.
But it's fun. It's fun nonetheless. I enjoy every minute of it. You know
what I enjoyed? When you took your jacket off and you showed him your guns. I knew shit.
I did arms. Hey, you know what? I did arms yesterday just for this. I got the rocking music playing in the back. I was ready.
I knew shit was gonna hit the fan, my brother. I was like,
for sure.
Yeah, if it hit the shan, guys, this is a kid's show.
I was like, Wong, you're in trouble.
I knew I was up against it all day today.
Mm-hmm.
All day.
Glenn ain't 20.
No.
20.
Glenn is not 20.
He's like 20 times 2, probably. He's like 20 times 2. Yeah, sun's out, guns out, even in the winter, Kamikaze.
That's right, brother. That's right, brother. All right. So with that being said, man, we're gonna go and we're gonna head and close it out. We had to speak on it. Thank you, Brandon. Again, much love. Always, you're always welcome.
Thanks, Brandon.
Always open. SumTingWong, my brother. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Much love. Don't forget, Tuesday's a busy day. So I mean, if you guys, there was a lot of shows out. If you guys missed yesterday's show, pick up the weekly wrap up for Brando and Steph, and also not Steph. I'm sorry, Bryce.
Steph is on tomorrow,
and then Steph is tomorrow.
Friday.
Yes, my bad, my brother. And then let us not also forget, let's go ahead and rewatch that rewind for Azora's Tigers. Tomorrow we will have Jeff on movies and shows. We'll be doing Geek Driven live. You know what I mean? We just dropped Comic Lovers with CBSI, so don't not forget that. Go ahead and check that out. It was with Alonzo, Big Rob, and Morello Tunes. So definitely go ahead and check that out. We got Thursday, Comics and Bionics coming in for a Mondo mail call. Then we got the Queens. We got the Queens of Comics. They're going to be dropping their show on Friday. Do not forget that as well. And then you got your weekend. But guess what? Something's returning. We are bringing it back. We are having Drop the Mic. I have my brother, No Good Comics. We're going to be going over Not All Robots. I had to take some time off to read all these runs. And Brandon and I will be doing Black Widow very soon. We've had that talk for some time. I've been lagging. Work overtime.
Oh yeah, we did.
That's a lot.
But
we did.
I never forget that. You think I forget? You hell no, I don't.
I haven't forgotten it.
But we will. We were going to get that done too. But a lot is going on, guys. Definitely be on the lookout. Sub everybody up that you can and support your community. And with that being said, if you want to do it right, collect what you like. But for this show, you want to do it right. Debate what you like. Man, just. All right, take us out, and we out this bitch. Y'all later.
Station.